Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a long overdue update for Project 100 Uses. No, I have not forgotten about this project, but I like to wait until I have surpassed 100 uses on one or two items before coming back to update you all. I was inspired to do this project by Chic Geek. I'm tracking almost my entire makeup collection and I just update you on 5 to 8 items each time I come back with this style of video to let you know where I stand, and the goal is to reach over 100 uses on my products in my collection to get my money's worth. Before we hop into my progress and where I'm at with all of these products, I would like to thank Ana Luisa for sponsoring this portion of today's video. I have been so pleased to work with Ana Luisa on my channel many times. They have very high quality, affordable jewelry pieces. They are one of the only jewelry brands that I have worn for over a year, and they are currently running an up to 30% off sale for November. This is the perfect opportunity to pick up some pieces for loved ones as Christmas gifts if that's something you're interested in. I did want to share some of the new pieces they sent my way this time. First, I'm wearing the low medium hoops. You've seen these in a couple of videos. They are a much thinner medium-sized hoop than I have Tia medium as well, which I love. I also have the Sam necklace, which is very dainty. I'll put a more close up of it over here. You guys know the Mama necklace from Ana Luisa is my most treasured piece of jewelry besides my wedding rings probably, and I wear that one all the time, but I wanted to try another more dainty style necklace from them, and I think this one is gorgeous. I also chose this ring, again close-ups to the side. This is the Ray ring, and I wanted something that's a bit more of a statement but didn't overpower I have small hands. Probably can't tell on video, but I can fit my hands in my children's child-sized gloves. So this is the more statement piece from Ana Luisa that I chose, and I also chose the Ray ring because my middle name is Ray and it is spelled the same way on their site. But I have to say my favorite piece that they sent to me this time are actually these Sloan earrings, and I was inspired by It's Just Steph to pick these ones. I think they're so elegant and still everyday appropriate while being a little more amped up, if that makes sense. It has a little more visual interest while still being everyday appropriate, and I'm obsessed with them. I wear them all the time. Once again, I love working with Ana Luisa on my channel because they support small creators like myself, and I love how eco-conscious of a brand they are. They are completely carbon neutral when it comes to both their products as well as their packaging. I keep all of these little slips that each piece of jewelry comes in. They're really easy to organize and store and keeps my jewelry protected inside as well. And then when you order from Ana Luisa, it comes in this very small box. I'm so grateful for that as well. There's nothing that aggravates me more when you order something small, like a beautiful dainty piece of jewelry, and it comes in a ginormous box. It just seems so unnecessary. So if you were interested in purchasing some Ana Luisa pieces before the end of the year, I definitely recommend taking advantage of the sale, and I'd be so appreciative if you used my link down in the description box. So thank you once again, Ana Luisa, for being so kind to me and supporting my small channel and sending me these beautiful jewelry pieces. Now let's hop into my update for Project 100 Uses. I've decided to share 8 different items with you this time, and I actually have 2 that I have hit or surpassed 100 uses on, which is very exciting to me. My hair is very dry and frizzy. First, I wanted to share where I'm at with my Natasha Denona Zendo palette before I put it away for the time being. If you saw my whole collection project pan, you'll know that I have rolled this out of that project. But this is one of my most expensive eyeshadow palettes, and I want to make sure I get my money's worth, even though it was a gift. But you know what I mean. I don't want it to be completely neglected in my collection, as this is quite an expensive product. The last time I updated this project, I had used this palette 16 times, and I'm now at 30 uses. I've used it 18 times since the very beginning of the year. I've updated this since then, but my tracking's a little bit weird, excuse me. I was working on the shade Vigor in my whole collection project pan, and I really disliked that shade. So I'm just ready to put this away. I have been reaching for other shades within this palette, but Vigor being my focus just kind of soured me on the whole thing for the time being. So I'm really just ready to put this away. But in tracking it for this project, it will always be on this list. It will always be a constant reminder to pull it out because I do want to surpass 100 uses on this. I just need a break right now. Another palette I was surprised at how much progress I made was my ColourPop Wild Nothing palette. Now you may think that this is kind of a weird palette to put in this project. It's really not that old compared to a lot of my other palettes in my collection, but it's just such an everyday beautiful neutral palette for my fair skin, and I really enjoy this. We have your browns, but you also have some more pinky tones in here and some green shimmers, and I think the combination is really beautiful along with the packaging. I've now used this palette 42 times, which seems like a lot. Like I don't recall reaching for this super often, but I guess I did have Top Down over here. I believe it was in my whole collection project pan earlier this year as well. I also almost have pan on the shade Spirited, which is one of those Super Shock shadows. So clearly I have been using this palette. It's just in my mind, it doesn't seem like one I have reached for as often as I have. I think it's fun to check in on my face palettes in this project every once in a while as well. So this time I pulled out my Smashbox Cali Contour palette and I wanted to see how many times I've used this one. I'm at 35 uses on this palette and I would love to see that number increase soon. I don't know if I've reached for this much at all this past year, but this used to be an absolute favorite. I think it's just a great travel palette. I don't love the highlights, but I think the bronzer, the contour, the blush, and this like more setting shade works really well for me. It's not the most elegant formula, if you will, but it works. It's one of those products that is good, but maybe not my absolute favorite. But I did spend a lot of money on this palette, so it definitely needs more love. I have two ABH palettes I would like to update you on. First, I have my ABH Jackie Aina palette. I recently rolled this out of No Pan Left Behind, and I used it quite a bit at the beginning of the year as well because I hit pan in trust issues. This is one of my favorite palettes in my collection. I love the variety of shades in here. I think the quality in here is amazing as well. Lituation is like a low-key favorite. It's kind of unassuming, like a more taupey shade in the pan, but every time I use it, I fall in love with it all over again. I feel like it's really underrated. I've now used this palette 65 times, which feels amazing. I'm surprised I only have one pan in here because I'm pretty sure at 65 uses for my ABH Modern Renaissance palette, it already had a couple of pans. And I really don't see a ton of dips in the other shades for how much I've used this palette. I don't know why this palette is so neglected in my collection, but seeing It's Just Steph pan this palette this past year has really motivated me to pull it out for the next 2 months of the year and just see if I can bump up the usage. And shaming myself with this project pan update will help me get there as well. This is the Sultry palette, obviously. I've only used this palette 22 times. Why? I'm pretty sure that's only 2 times since the last time I updated this project, which I think was in April. I can't explain myself. I don't know why I don't reach for this because I actually do love cool toned makeup. But because I've been panning Tarte Tartelette Toasted, which I will share in a moment, I've just been wearing warm tones almost this entire year. So when I finally meet the last part of my goal on that in Deck of Panning, I will be happy to dive into cool tones for the rest of the year, and this I want to be a focus. I would love to keep this out and hit at least a pan. I would love to surpass maybe 50 uses, not by the end of the year because that's already sneaking up on us, but like not putting this away with my gazillion palettes, like keeping it in my everyday makeup drawer until I've surpassed 50 uses. I feel like I owe it to this palette. All right, I have 2 items I've hit 100 uses on, which I'm so excited to share. The first being my ColourPop Smoke and Whistles Super Shock Highlighter. I took like 96 or 97 uses in this to hit pan in it. I've definitely expanded the pan just the tiniest bit with those additional 3 or 4 uses, and I'm now at an even 100, and then I decided to put it away for a bit to focus on some other highlighters. I've been really trying to hit pan in some highlights this year, and this was the first one I did, and the dent in there is just so huge. I'm really happy with how this product is looking.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Emmett. Careful. And then, no surprise, the last item I wanted to update you on, Emmett just bumped the camera, is my Tarte Tartelette Toasted Palette. This has been a deck of panning since the beginning of the year. My goal is to use it 50 times and hit 2 pans. I've surpassed 50 uses on this palette for the year. I've hit 1 pan, and I'm really trying to hit pan in Cozy over here, and it's just not happening. But I will be so happy when I finally do that so I can put this palette away. Currently, as of today, I'm at 106 uses, and that will continue to increase until I hit that second pan in here. I really like this palette. I think it's a beautiful warm tone palette, and I especially loved Warmth, which is the shade I hit pan on first. It's this like pumpkin spice kind of color that I think is really flattering on my skin tone. All of the shades in here aren't my favorite. I don't really love Candle. I don't love Crackle. But this is a great everyday palette. I've enjoyed working on it this year. I'm just ready to put it away, but I really want the satisfaction of hitting that second pan that I've worked so hard for this year. So that is my update for Project 100 Uses. I do feel like I'm making good progress on my collection, and you'll have to let me know which items in my collection you would like to see me update next time. Anything is fair game. I'm tracking almost all of my makeup collection, like I said. Palettes, face palettes, cheek products, lip products. I don't think I've surpassed 100 tracked usage on lip products because of how I track them, but that's fine. I've also not too long ago did a full video on all the products in my collection I've used over 100 times. I can link that up in the cards if you missed it. And before I let you go, I wanted to remind you once again of the sale currently running from Ana Luisa and encourage you to browse the site and maybe pick out a gift for a loved one if you are looking to gift jewelry to someone special in your life. So thank you, Ana Luisa, once again for partnering with me on this video. If you did enjoy today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up so that I know, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!